You are listening to LOA Recon with the Good Vibe Coach Jeanette Ma, where we dissect the ins and outs and the art and science of conscious creation, all intended to amp up your manifesting game. Let's have some fun together. Here's one straight from my own personal manifesting files. But a couple weeks ago, last month, I wrote a blog post about, it was called The Tweak That Makes a Difference. It was about how if your manifesting project is driven by trying to escape what you don't want, that's not going to be nearly as effective as when you're fueled by what you do want. And I don't know what example I used in the post, but the one that always comes to mind is like when you're trying to manifest a new job because you hate your current one. Oy. When we've got that kind of energy flowing in it, it's kinky energy. Happy endings are pretty tricky with that setup. Yeah, I was a big expert writing about this just a couple weeks ago. And the other day, some of you who've listened to some recent episodes probably know I've had a lot of visits to the emergency vet lately with my senior dogs. And I lost 2 of my seniors earlier this year. My Sadie, the last one of my pack, things got sketchy there too. We were at the emergency vet the other day. Anyway, my intention when I moved to this place was that I would do a lot of rescue of senior dogs. They're the ones always overlooked in the shelters. And they're kind of my rhythm and my style, nice and chill. They're pretty easy. But boy, after losing a couple of seniors, I was like, I think I'm ready for something that I could enjoy for a while, not just a couple years and go through this routine again. So I adopted a puppy, Harvey. I was helping to foster a German Shepherd pregnant dog. She had 8 puppies. They were at my place for several weeks. It was so cool. So cool. Yeah, and then I was losing seniors left and right. And I'm exaggerating a little. Shouldn't exaggerate about bad stuff like that. So I adopted a puppy. Even though I know no one in their right mind adopts a puppy. I did because I didn't want to lose another dog anytime soon. I wanted to have a long time with a loved one, which felt like it hadn't been happening. Okay, so I didn't recognize it at the time, but I was probably making that decision based more on a don't want than a do want. It's not like I was all fired up to have a puppy because puppies are so amazing and cool and they're the best thing ever. I was like, no, you got to be crazy to adopt a puppy. They will wreck your life. But I adopted one. And anyone who's been on my Facebook page or listened to any of these podcasts, you know how much I've been loving that guy. Yeah. And then one day, I'm not going to elaborate on details here because this is a vibration we are going to minimize. One day I was rolling into the emergency vet with my puppy. The dog was 4.5 months old. This is the guy that I'm supposed to have years before anything even remotely looks like a challenge. Oh, there we were rolling, not just rolling to the emergency vet, but I was strongly suspecting, and others were confirming for me, that this was life-threatening. Like this didn't look good. It didn't look good for Harvey. And I was thinking, this wasn't what was supposed to happen. I was supposed to have this dog for years, at least 10 years, before I had to even consider saying goodbye to him. And here it looked like it might be happening today. And that's when I realized that I had some strong resistance to saying goodbye to loved ones. Like I did not want that. And that's why I adopted a puppy, so I wouldn't have to say goodbye to him anytime soon. See what I did there? Manifesting something out of resistance, out of a focus of what I didn't want rather than what I did want. So it shouldn't have been a surprise that this was happening. But on the way to the vet, I realized actually the night before, when I started, I was thinking about it. I called the emergency vet the night before, thinking this I might have a problem here. I realized, my problem is this vibration that is dialed on losing loved ones and what I don't want. So I knew Harvey's big problem was me and my vibration. And that to release that resistance, I had to get okay with. A lot of people have said to me since then, Jeanette, you didn't really have to get okay with Harvey dying. You didn't really. You could have transported yourself to the alternate universe, to the parallel reality where everything was fine. You could have, used your manifesting skills to script that the vet telling you fabulous news. Yeah, I could do those things. But if I did that with the undercurrent of I don't want to lose another dog, and man, did I feel that energy strongly, that I could do a lot of manifesting exercises, but as long as that energy's flowing, I don't think I'm going to like those results. So I needed to clean my slate of that. I needed to release that. And yes, if I could fully remove my attention from it, that would probably be enough. But I wasn't able to remove my attention because here I am having to deal with this right in the red hot moment. So what felt better to me was, what seemed wiser to me was make some peace. Make some peace with losing loved ones. You just got to get on board. Because if you try to adopt a puppy thinking that means you won't have to say goodbye to this guy for a very long time, then you are all about the don't want. And that's why you are rolling in on the emergency vet with a thing that looks life-threatening. So I was like, I posted it in the Good Vibe forums, the Good Vibe University forums. I titled it, Making Peace with the Unthinkable. I got to get on board with this. I got to say yes to it, embrace it, because as long as I'm resisting it, as long as I'm pushing against it, I'm a magnet for it. So the way to turn off that instruction to universe saying, hey, take my puppy, please, is to get okay with it, to make some peace so that I don't have a charge on it. So I did some thought work around it, and it's not my first rodeo. I have done this before, not just made peace with what I don't want before, but I've also recently experienced saying goodbye to loved ones. And guess what? Turns out you survive it. So it may be easier because I had, I don't know, that sounds like a strange thing to say. It was easier because I'd lost Coda and Molly and others earlier in the year. Just saying, this wasn't the first time I've engaged the effort to drop the resistance and to be willing to say yes to what life is apparently delivering. So I said, you know what? Maybe I was wrong to think I was going to see this guy to adulthood. Maybe this was as long as I had. And can I be okay with that? And just thought work, finding those thoughts to release that charge. And I did a good job of it. I really did a good job of it. Again, it's not the first time I've done this routine. So I can't imagine a tougher one to do it on. Oh, maybe if I had kids, that would be tougher. But these guys, I know parents of human children get offended when those of us who have fur babies say things like that. But I felt like I cleaned that slate really well. I really got okay with, as much as you can. I'm not going to say 100%, but I made a lot of progress. This might be my last day with this guy. And I could think that thought without falling apart and just be grateful that, you know what, I knew this amazing puppy for as long as I did. And that maybe this story has a different ending that I thought it did. So made some peace. And I did it so well that I thought, okay, I cleaned the slate. I was energetically scrubbed of the negative stuff. So I was like, just throw on some icing on the cake, do a little, practicing the relief of good news from the vet. So I did sprinkle some of that on top. I've experienced that many times. I know what that feels like when you were worried and then the vet says it's going to be fine. So I practiced feeling that, no big deal. So we get to the vet and I really, really, really like this emergency clinic. They do good work there. And I said to the vet what I thought it was. First, you got to talk to the vet tech. And then I talked to the vet. And instead of, Like I was thinking, it would be cool if when I said, oh, I'm really nervous that this is what's happening, it would be cool if they said, oh, well, there's no way it could be that because of this, that, and the other. I was thinking that'd be cool. But no, that's not what the vet said. When I laid out what I was worried about, the vet nodded her head in agreement, like, yeah, you should be concerned. Like, that's not what I wanted to hear. But I made some peace that, maybe this isn't going to turn out how I originally thought when I adopted this puppy. So they do a bazillion tests. I'm exaggerating again. They did like 4 tests. And the first ones that came back, they were like, it's looking less likely like that worst case scenario that meant your puppy's probably going to die. Not that. In fact, she named something else that was also deadly. She's like, oh, maybe we're looking at like distemper or parvo. And that can kill a puppy. It kills a lot of puppies. But I said, that was good news to me because I've had foster puppies survive that before. I know that one is survivable. So I heard that as good news. And that might sound strange that the vet's saying, it could be this other deadly thing, that it was good news. But that's where I was at vibrationally, that was relief. That was relief. I was like, okay, I'll take that over this other thing that seems for sure no one survives that. So they were going to do some more tests. They were going to take longer to get back. And but I left there feeling encouraged that I might not. This might turn out okay. I didn't pick up my resistance to it. I still was like, you don't know. You got to be okay either way. Because the bottom line is what this was giving me a chance to practice was that it's just like Abraham says, when you live conditionally, like you're happy when things are the certain way you like them. What really works better is unconditional happiness, where you're happy because you chose so. It doesn't depend on what's happening out there. This was giving me a chance to practice that. And anyway, we got home. It's a long drive. We spent it was almost the end of the day by the time we got there. And shortly after we got home, and they let me bring him home, the phone rang, and it was the different vet from the same clinic calling with results on Sadie's big test, which she prepped me that this isn't going to be good news. And once you get this news, you're going to have to do this, that, and the other. And you're basically looking at your final months with your dog, months if you're lucky. And that was she's going to be 13 in October, and she's a big dog. She's a Great Pyrenees mix. So 13 with the Great Pyrenees, like that's pretty freaking good. They're like, you should be celebrating that. So that's Harvey in the background. So, the vet calls, and here I've been practicing, getting okay with saying goodbye to loved ones. And the vet's got the test results, and they're not what she expected. It's all good news. It's all good news. There's like nothing Sadie has to worry about at all. It's all good news. It was huge relief. And it was a fun call for the vet to make because, man, she had prepped me that it wasn't going to be like this. And she told me why it wasn't going to be like that. And I believed her. I totally believed her. And so that was fabulous. I was like, yay. So I was practicing the relief of good news about my dog. And yes, I got good news that very same day. It's a different dog, but still, man, I was celebrating it. And so I'm still practicing the whole, making peace with who knows what's going to happen with Harvey, going to be okay either way. And every time I would tell that story to a conscious creator, I'm exaggerating again, not every time, but a handful of times, fellow creators would say to me, oh, Jeanette, that's crazy. You don't have to get on board with losing your dog, as if by doing so, I would manifest losing my dog. It's the opposite when you do that. It's the exact opposite. And that's why a lot of people are reluctant to do it. They're like, that's kind of hardcore. I don't think you have to be that extreme about it. You know what? I know where this... look how many dogs are getting taken out left and right all over the place. And here I am. I'm bringing a puppy to the brink, a healthy, perfectly healthy puppy to the brink with this vibration of, I don't want to lose any more loved ones. I don't want to lose any more of my animals. Like even he's getting swept up in it. So I was like, it sounds like it's time for extreme measures because it's extreme manifesting here. So I'm not saying everyone has to do this. Your inner guidance will tell you what will serve you best. But the reason I'm sharing this story is because I just did a blog post about how it works much better when you're not trying to create something that's driven by the don't want. It's a simple shift in focus to focus on what you do want rather than still have it activated what you don't want. And I had this example that was pretty much in line with the very thing I was writing about just a couple weeks ago. So I thought that would be a cool one to share. So turns out, okay, that was a couple days ago. Well, Harvey's test just came in, his final test, where they determine what's for sure wrong with him. And guess what it is? It's no big deal. It's no big deal. There isn't even any follow-up. It's going to fix its own self. That's what they said. So yeah, it turns out the only thing wrong with Harvey was me and my vibration and doing, I'm going to say, a little bit of vibration management. It was kind of big work, but man, it's work that pays off. Paying attention to what we're focused on and how we feel. That's what the heart of this work is. I'm sharing this story in case anyone can use this tip in their future. I hope you don't. I hope you don't do what I did, but in case you are, that's what it looks like when we get it straight. That's one way it can look. Yes, there are other ways. Thanks for listening, everyone, and happy manifesting.